Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Aman Khera, I'm co-founder Care for Parents, and I welcome you all today to yet very important and very interesting discussion about nutrition in the elderly. You must be wondering that why are we talking about this today? What is so important about this? क्या जरूरत है हमें आज ये डिस्कशन करने की? We know what we are eating, we eat what we want, and we know what we have to eat. हमें पता है हमने क्या खाना है, तो आज हम ये डिस्कशन क्यों करें? What happens is that as we all grow old, we consciously और unconsciously जाने या अनजाने में हमारी डाइट कम हो जाती है. Our diet intake tends to go down, and there are many reasons for that. Some people feel that now we are retired, we don't do our work regularly, we are just staying at home or maybe just visiting friends, so our energy requirements are less, so let's reduce the diet. Some people unconsciously, because the appetite reduces, they tend to decrease their diet intake. Many people, more often so, people have problems like high blood pressure, diabetes, maybe heart disease. So they have a lot of restrictions about diet. Ye nahi khana, wo nahi khana, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. So eventually what is happening is, again, the diet intake, the food intake is going down. Now we all know that the natural source of important things like vitamins, minerals, like calcium, iron, ये सब चीजें हमें चाहिए. The natural source for this is from our food. And if our food goes down, अगर हम खाना कम कर देंगे, तो ये जितने इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें मैंने बताई, जैसे आयरन हो गया, कैल्शियम हो गया, vitamins, minerals, everything intake goes down, and this results in lot of problems. It affects our metabolism. It produces lot of diseases, lot of malnourishment take place. So इसका काफी इफेक्ट होता है हमारी बॉडी. One thing we have to understand that the key to good health is good nutrition. यानी कि अगर हमें हेल्थ अपनी अच्छी रखनी है, हमें अपनी डाइट, अपनी खुराक हमें अच्छी रखनी पड़ेगी. Why? What happens when we have good nutrition? It has been clinically found that lot of diseases are prevented. अच्छा खाना खाने से कई बीमारियां हमारी प्रिवेंट होती हैं. हमारी इम्यूनिटी लेवल बढ़ता है. Our immunity level increases, and if our immunity level is increasing, obviously we are able to fight off infections. Again, we stay healthy. It has been found that good nutrition elevates our mood. हमें खुश रखता है, हमारे पास एनर्जी आती है. We get lot of energy, so we are able to move around. हम फिर यार दोस्त से मिलते हैं, हम बाहर जाते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे में ताकत होती है, एनर्जी होती है, हमको वीकनेस नहीं होती. So that elevates our mood. So good nutrition has a lot of positive impacts on our overall health. So now another question comes in our mind कि मैं क्या करूँ? What should I be doing? What is the right nutrition for me? Some people have high blood pressure, some people have diabetes, some people have both. So उनको क्या खाना चाहिए? हम जितने लोगों से मिलते हैं, whenever we meet our friends, our relatives, everyone gives their opinion. You should eat this, you should not eat this, you should take this, this is not right for diabetes, this is very good for diabetes. So हो क्या रहा है कि we are getting lot of questions in our mind. There are a lot of confusions in our mind. We exactly do not know what is the right thing to do and what is not the right thing to do. हमें जो महसूस होता है, जो मूड करता है, वो हम बना लेते हैं और वो हम खाना खाते हैं. So today, to solve our queries, to answer our questions, to remove our confusions, we have invited dietitian Charu Dua with us. Dietitian Charu Dua is a very senior clinical nutritionist. She is associated with Max Group of Hospitals as a senior consultant in nutrition. She has written a lot of books about health and nutrition. She's a trained diabetes educator, and she has been working for more than 25 years now as a clinical nutritionist. So I welcome dietitian Charu today. Charu, thank you so much for joining us. My request to everyone is, please listen carefully to what she's saying. ध्यान से सुने. And if you have any problems, any confusions in your mind, you may please ask her today. She will definitely sort them out. And even later on, if you feel अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको dietitian, आपको consultation लेनी है, we at Care for Parents will help you in getting that organized. So thank you, Charu, for joining. Over to you, and and I hope you will be able to, and I'm sure you will be able to sort out a lot of queries for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aman, for making me a part on care for parents. आपका ये जो प्रोग्राम है और आपका जो ये थॉट प्रोसेस है केयर फॉर पेरेंट्स, मेरे को दिल से आपके साथ जोड़ता है, बिकॉज ये बहुत जरूरी है और हिंदुस्तान में अभी बहुत जरूरी है. हिंदुस्तान में लोग ये सोचते होंगे कि इसकी जरूरत क्या है, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान की जो लॉन्जेविटी है, एक्चुअली मेरे फादर ऑलमोस्ट 80 इयर्स के हैं, तो वो कभी कभी मजाक करते रहते हैं कि एवरेज इंडियन की एज से मैं ज्यादा जी लिया हूँ, है ना. सो एवरेज इंडियन इज 70 साल, है ना. जब हम अपने पेरेंट्स को देखते हैं 80 इयर्स 85 इयर्स ओल्ड होते हुए, चाह के भी हम उनका ख्याल नहीं रख पाते, क्योंकि हम लोग अपनी लाइफस्टाइल में बिजी हैं. और बड़े लोगों को बातें करना, उनके साथ समय बिताना, ये बहुत अच्छा लगता है. और ये प्लेटफॉर्म अगर आप उन्हें दे रहे हैं, और बड़े लोगों की, क्योंकि घर में लोग बातें सुनते हैं, अगर हम उनको एजुकेट कर पाए, तो ये एक छोटा अभियान है जहाँ पे हम एजुकेशन को, हेल्थ एजुकेशन को स्प्रेड करते हैं केयर फॉर पेरेंट्स के माध्यम से. सो मैं इसीलिए आपके साथ दिल से जुड़ी रहती हूँ, एंड बड़ों के लिए कुछ भी करना मुझे हमेशा से अच्छा लगता है.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you so much for these kind words. Yes, definitely we are trying our best, and it is a very very important thing that is to be done, because हमारे जो बुजुर्ग हैं, ये इन्होंने हमारी लाइफ की नींव रखी है, तो इतना करना हमारा फर्ज है.
एब्सोल्युटली. सो पहले इसको मैं बड़ा मोड पे शेयर करूं तो सबको नमस्कार, दिल से नमस्कार. सो कुछ सवाल मैं बीच बीच में पूछती रहूंगी, है ना. सो एक सेइंग है ना, वो कहते थे कि अगर एक औरत को पढ़ा दो तो पूरा देश को हम पढ़ा सकते हैं, क्योंकि जो औरत है हमारे देश में, गृहिणी है. आजकल मेल्स भी काम करते हैं, खाना बनाते हैं किचन में, पर अभी तक हिंदुस्तान में फीमेल्स ही किचन पे राज करती आई हैं, है ना. सो अगर हम फीमेल को न्यूट्रिशन एजुकेशन देते हैं, तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम एक फैमिली को हेल्दी बना रहे हैं. सो आज का जो हमारा फोकस रहेगा, देखो, न्यूट्रिशन इन एल्डरली, कुछ अलग और कुछ बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं, थोड़ी बहुत चेंजेस हैं, क्योंकि उम्र के साथ जो तकलीफें होती हैं, जैसे कॉन्स्टिपेशन होना, एल्डरली में कॉन्स्टिपेशन एक आम बीमारी हो जाती है, गैस्ट्रिक रिफ्लक्स एक बीमारी हो जाती है, आपको एसिडिटी की प्रॉब्लम ज्यादा हो जाती है, खाने की पाचन शक्ति थोड़ी कम हो जाती है. मैं उन सवालों को आपसे सुनना चाहूंगी और जवाब देना चाहूंगी. मैं सिर्फ ट्रिगर करूंगी आजकल के खान पान के बारे में, और आपके सवाल कि आपको कॉन्स्टिपेशन है तो कॉन्स्टिपेशन में क्या करना चाहिए, डायबिटीज में क्या करना चाहिए, हाइपरटेंशन में क्या करना चाहिए, वो मैं आपसे सुनना चाहूंगी, ताकि मैं आपके इश्यूज को रिजॉल्व कर सकूं. सो आज आप भी एजुकेट होंगे, और आप अपनी बहू को, बेटी को, बेटे को, पोते को, पोती को भी फिर एजुकेट करेंगे. हमारा मोटिव ये रहेगा, है ना. सो पहले हम थोड़ी बहुत हेल्दी डाइट के बारे में बात करेंगे. आज की टेबल पे हम क्या लाएंगे, हम बात करेंगे न्यूट्रिशन असेसमेंट की. जब आप एक डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, तो सबसे पहले डॉक्टर क्या करता है, आपका ब्लड प्रेशर चेक करता है, वेट हाइट चेक करता है, और पल्स चेक करता है. तो जब आप एक न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट के पास आते हैं या एक डाइटिशियन के पास आते हैं, वो क्या करते हैं, वो आपका न्यूट्रिशन असेसमेंट करते हैं. तो वो क्या करते हैं, और न्यूट्रिशन असेसमेंट, बेसिक तरीका न्यूट्रिशन असेसमेंट का क्या है, वो हम आपको सिखाएंगे. दूसरा, हिंदुस्तान क्या खा रहा है और आपको क्या खाना चाहिए, और प्रैक्टिकल टिप्स हेल्दी डाइट के लिए, जो बड़ों के लिए जरूरी है, आपकी एज में जरूरी है. जैसे मेनोपॉज में क्या करें, बहुत सारे सवाल आपके मन में हो सकते हैं जो आप पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है. हमारे को पता है जो हमारा देश है इस समय 3 प्रॉब्लम से जूझ रहा है. पहला प्रॉब्लम है अंडर न्यूट्रिशन, यानी कुपोषणता. एक तरफ तो हिंदुस्तान में कुपोषणता है, जहां पे बच्चों को खाना पीना नहीं मिल रहा, और कोविड के बाद ये फिगर्स बदल गई हैं. बच्चे स्टंटेड पैदा हो रहे हैं, बहुत ज्यादा मसल वेस्टिंग है, और बहुत कमजोर हैं. दूसरी तरफ हम ये भी देख रहे हैं, जो शहरों की पॉपुलेशन है, आजकल के सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स, हमारी जो मेड्स आती हैं, वो ओवरवेट हैं और ओबेसिटी है. सो दो पहियों पे हिंदुस्तान खड़ा हो रहा है. और तीसरा ये है कि अनीमिया, माइक्रो विटामिन और मिनरल डेफिशिएंसी भी हिंदुस्तान में बढ़ रही है. जब मैं कॉलेज में थी आज से 25 साल पहले, तब भी अनीमिया पढ़ रही थी, आज भी लोगों को अनीमिया के बारे में बता रही हूँ। सो अनीमिया डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, आयरन की कमी हिंदुस्तान में है। सो ये 3 चीजों से हमारा देश जूझ रहा है और इसी की नींव हमारे को जरूरत है न्यूट्रिशन को अच्छा बनाने के लिए। सो आज हम फोकस करेंगे ओवरवेट, ओबेसिटी पे और अनीमिया पे, क्योंकि हम उस पॉपुलेशन से बात कर रहे हैं। अंडरवेट वाली पॉपुलेशन से अभी हम बात नहीं कर रहे, सो अंडरवेट के बारे में बात नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है। सो न्यूट्रिशन असेसमेंट, सबसे पहले कैसे जाने कि मैं न्यूट्रिशनली फिट हूं या नहीं हूं, उसका तरीका है बॉडी मास इंडेक्स। एक पैरामीटर होता है जिसको कहते हैं बॉडी मास इंडेक्स। अगर आपका बॉडी मास इंडेक्स 18.5 से नीचे है तो आप अंडरवेट है, अगर 18.5 से 25 के बीच में है तो आप नॉर्मल हैं, अगर 23 से ऊपर है तो आप ओवरवेट हैं। और ये एशियन स्टैंडर्ड है। यूरोपियंस के लिए नॉर्मल इज 18.5 to 25। सो एशियंस के लिए गाइडलाइंस थोड़ी स्ट्रिक्ट है, क्योंकि हम थ्रिफ्टी जीन्स लेके पैदा हुए हैं, है ना। तो कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं बॉडी मास को? हम अपना वजन लेते हैं किलोग्राम में और हाइट लेते हैं मीटर स्क्वायर में। सो एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ। अगर आपकी हाइट आपको सेंटीमीटर्स में नापनी है, बेसिकली आपको ध्यान रखना है कि आपको आपकी हाइट सेंटीमीटर में मालूम है। एक एग्जांपल नीचे दिया हुआ है। अगर आपका वजन 70 किलो है और हाइट आपकी 160 सेंटीमीटर्स है, तो हाइट को मीटर स्क्वायर में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए 160 को मीटर्स में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए 1.60, सिंपल 1 के बाद एक पॉइंट लगा दीजिए, 1.60 को 1.60 से मल्टीप्लाई कर लीजिए, सो 2.56 आ जाएगा। इस स्क्रीन का आप स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं। सो 2.56 मेरा डिनोमिनेटर बन जाएगा और 70 किलो मेरा वजन है, वो मेरा न्यूमरेटर बन जाएगा। सो 70 डिवाइडेड बाय 2.56 इज इक्वल टू 27.3। सो 27.3 इज माय BMI। सो 27.3 BMI है, तो जो भी ये बंदा है वो ओवरवेट है, नॉर्मल है या अंडरवेट है? चैट बॉक्स में टाइप कीजिए। वेरी गुड। समझ आया सबको BMI के बारे में? क्योंकि ये सबको पता होना चाहिए। आजकल तो स्कूल में 8वीं 9वीं में भी पढ़ाते हैं, तो आप लोगों को भी पता होना चाहिए कि आप अंडरवेट है या ओवरवेट है, और कितना ओवरवेट है ये आपको आइडिया बता देता है ये पैरामीटर, ठीक है। सो बेसिकली जो हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी है उसने बोला कि खाना पीने की जो प्लेट है हमारी ऐसी दिखनी चाहिए, ठीक है। ये हार्वर्ड की प्लेट है जिसमें पानी, होल ग्रेन्स, हेल्दी प्रोटीन्स, फल, सब्जी, ऑयल, इनके बारे में बताता है। तो NIN ने भी बेसिकली जो हमारा नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन है हैदराबाद, उसने भी एक प्लेट बनाई है हिंदुस्तान के लिए। हिंदुस्तान की प्लेट कैसी होनी चाहिए? वो ऐसी होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हम अमेरिकन नहीं हैं, तो हमें ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि हमें खाना ऐसे खाना चाहिए। सो ये प्लेट कहती है कि आधी प्लेट हमारी फलों और सब्जियों से भरी होनी चाहिए और रंग बिरंगी सब्जियां होनी चाहिए। सारे कलर्स की सब्जियां, सारे कलर्स के फ्रूट्स हमें खाने चाहिए, क्योंकि ये अलग तरीके के एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स देते हैं। और ओल्ड एज में जैसे घुटनों की प्रॉब्लम होती है, सो हम बात करते हैं ना एंटी इंफ्लेमेटरी फूड्स की। सो अगर हम वेजिटेबल्स और फ्रूट्स ज्यादा खाएंगे तो हमारी कॉन्स्टिपेशन की प्रॉब्लम भी कम होगी, और दिस विल एक्ट एज एंटी इंफ्लेमेटरी डाइट, ठीक है। सो फिर आधी जो हमारी प्लेट है उसमें से लगभग 1/4 के करीब जो प्लेट है वो सीरियल्स यानी कि हमारे होल ग्रेन से भरी हुई होनी चाहिए, और थोड़ी सी प्लेट में हमारे प्रोटीन्स भी होने चाहिए, नट्स भी होने चाहिए, सीड्स भी होने चाहिए, और फैट एंड ऑयल की मात्रा कम होनी चाहिए। सो हमारी प्लेट दिखने में ऐसी होनी चाहिए, ठीक है। पर भारत खा क्या रहा है? ये NIN ने सर्वे किया था और बताया था कि भारत अर्बन इंडिया हो या रूरल इंडिया हो, ये जो नीला वाला सर्कल आप देख रहे हैं वो ये कह रहा है कि सबसे ज्यादा हमारी प्लेट सीरियल और मिलेट से भरी हुई है। फ्रूट तो है ही नहीं, सब्जी तो है ही नहीं, और पल्सेस भी बहुत कम है। सो अगर आप देखेंगे जो डार्क ब्लू है दैट इज सीरियल, ग्रीन इज प्रोटीन, एंड फ्रूट्स इज रेड, एंड वेजिटेबल्स इज येलो। सो जो NIN प्लेट बता रहा है, क्या हमारा देश उस हिसाब से खाना खा रहा है ये अर्बन इंडिया भी है और रूरल इंडिया भी है, नहीं खा रहा है, राइट। सो अगर आपने आंसर यस लिखा था तो आपको फिर से सोचना चाहिए। प्लस ये भी बता रहा है कि हमारे देश में ओवरवेट और नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीजेस भी बढ़ रही हैं बिकॉज हमारा खान पान बदलता जा रहा है, ठीक है। सिमिलरली डायबिटीज और हाइपरटेंशन भी हिंदुस्तान में बढ़ रहा है, राइट। सो जरूरी क्या है कि हम फल कितना खाएं, और ये स्टडी बता रही है, ये जो ग्राफ बता रहा है वो ये बता रहा है कि जो लोग फल और सब्जियां ज्यादा खाते हैं वो हार्ट डिजीज से और स्ट्रोक से दूर रहते हैं। ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं ओल्ड एज की, है ना। सो हार्ट डिजीज इज अ कॉमन प्रॉब्लम, और आजकल तो 50 साल में हार्ट डिजीज आ रही है, 40 साल में हार्ट डिजीज आ रही है, क्योंकि हमारा खान पान ज्यादा प्रोसेस्ड फूड की तरफ जा रहा है। और प्रोसेस्ड फूड मतलब जो ब्रेड भी हम खा रहे हैं, मैदा जो हम खा रहे हैं, ये सब प्रोसेस्ड फूड है जो हम खा रहे हैं। खाना खाना कैसा चाहिए हमें, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी भी बोलते हैं कि मिलेट्स, अपने देश के मिलेट्स का प्रयोग करें। मिलेट्स गेहूं से भी ज्यादा अच्छे हैं। सो अगर हम मिलेट्स यूज करते हैं और होल ग्रेन्स यूज करते हैं अपने खाने में, वो अच्छा है। पहले जब हम ट्रैवल किया करते थे ट्रेन में या प्लेन में, मुझे याद है हमारी दादी, हमारी नानी, इनफैक्ट जब मैं छोटी थी मेरी मम्मी भी, हम खाना अपने घर से लेके जाते थे। बाहर का खाना हम लोग बहुत कम खाया करते थे, क्योंकि उसका तेल कैसा होगा, उसकी आटा कैसा होगा, ये सारी चीजें हम सोचते थे। आटे वाले के पास बेकरी के बिस्किट्स भी जब बनाते थे तो घर का आटा, घर का घी, घर की शक्कर जाया करती थी। तंदूर की रोटी के लिए भी घर का गूंदा हुआ आटा जाता था। पर आजकल हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम बाहर से ही खाना प्रेफर कर रहे हैं, और ये भूल जा रहे हैं कि वो कौन सा आटा प्रयोग कर रहा है, वो कितना रिफाइंड है, कितना प्रोसेस्ड है। और हम बाहर मतलब बाहर घर में आज खाना बनाने का मन नहीं है तो बाजार से रोटी खा ली, पर वो रोटी हेल्दी है या नहीं है, ये सब चीजें भूल रहे हैं। इसीलिए बेसिक हमारे मिलेट्स, हमारे देश का आटा इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, और हमारा सीरियल होल ग्रेन अगर होगा तो उसमें हमारे को कॉन्स्टिपेशन की प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी। अगर आप मैदा ज्यादा खाएंगे, एक दिन सिर्फ मैदे की रोटी खाइए और चावल खाइए, अगले दिन सबको कॉन्स्टिपेशन होगी। रोटी खाएंगे, ब्रांड वाली रोटी खाएंगे, मिलेट वाली रोटी खाएंगे, मल्टीग्रेन आटे की रोटी खाएंगे, तो कॉन्स्टिपेशन से दूर रहेंगे और बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स से भी दूर रहेंगे। फिर उसके बाद जो तेल है, पहले तो सिर्फ घी यूज करते थे, आजकल तो इतने सारे रिफाइंड ऑयल हैं, ऑलिव ऑयल है। कौन सा तेल इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, हमें ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि ओमेगा 3 फैटी एसिड्स जो हैं वो सबसे हेल्दी फैट हैं, और ओमेगा 3 फैटी एसिड सरसों के तेल में और सोयाबीन ऑयल में प्रेजेंट रहते हैं। सो सरसों का तेल और सोयाबीन ऑयल हमें यूज करना चाहिए। और हमारे को ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि ऑलिव ऑयल हमारे देश की धरती के लिए नहीं है, जबकि ऑलिव ऑयल हेल्दी ऑयल है। पर ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर मैं ऑलिव ऑयल खा रहा हूँ या खा रही हूँ तो मेरे को सारे तेल के गुण मिल रहे हैं, नहीं। ऑलिव ऑयल में ओमेगा 3, ये ओमेगा इसमें पिक्चर ओमेगा 3 में है, बट ऑलिव ऑयल में ओमेगा 3 फैटी एसिड्स नहीं है, उसमें मोनो अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स हैं। So when we eat this oil, so we need to take care that we take a combination of oil. That is very, very important. When we take combination of oil, that is really, really important. And to get combination of oil, we need to use mustard oil combined with rice bran oil, and sometimes ghee and butter is absolutely okay. But only one oil will not give you package of all. So olive oil is healthy, but does not provide you omega-3 fatty acids. It will only give you monounsaturated fatty acids. So you need to have combination of oil. So a lot of my patients say we keep changing our oils. So I keep telling them, don't change the brands, but change the quality. So I will not talk on the brand of oil, but I'm telling you, you need to eat mustard oil, you need to eat rice bran oil. If you eat the combination of these two, you get all the goodness, and sometimes ghee and butter a little. Now, what is important with fat? There was a study where I was also involved, but I couldn't find the slide of it today. It said that the portion size of the fat is very, very important, right? So today when we finish talking, just do an assessment of how much oil you are bringing in your house, all the types of oil and all the types of quality of oil you are bringing, and divide that by the number of family members. One should not be using more than half a kg of oil per person per month. So if you are a family of 4 or a nuclear family or you should not be getting more than 2 kgs of all kinds of oil. So if I talk about 500 ml per person per month, this value changes depending upon the activity level. But when it comes to an elderly population, as the activity level is less, you need to take care that you are taking no more than 500 ml per person per month because of the kind of non-communicable diseases attached to you, right? So out of this 500, 400 ml can be refined oil, can be mustard oil and rice bran oil, and rest 100 grams should be ghee and butter, right? So if you're using not more than 100 grams of ghee and butter in the entire month, it is safe. But if you're increasing the quantity, that is where the problem starts coming in. But one should also take care that you should not be consuming trans fats. Now, trans fat is what? In our old days, it was vanaspati. Dalda is a trans fat. How is trans fat made? Refined oil is hydrogenized and converted into a solid fat, which appears to be ghee-like properties and has butter-like properties, right? So hydrogenation process makes the oil more stable and solid at room temperature, right? So that kind of a fat is very, very unhealthy. So trans fat is the villain of all the oils, even worse than ghee and butter. We all focus on ghee and butter, but we forget trans fats. So you may say that you are not using, you don't buy vanaspati, you don't buy dalda at home, but you forget that you eat the bakery biscuits, they use vanaspati and dalda. You eat tikkis, aapne dekha, when you go and eat tikkis outside, they are using only vanaspati, they are not using the ghee and oil. You eat mithais, they use vanaspati. You eat pastries, they use vanaspati because it is cost effective. So when we eat too much of all these things, then the intake of vanaspati increases in our diet. So the amount of trans fat to be consumed in the entire day has to be limited. So the easiest source that we bring vanaspati in our house is biscuits. So one should stop eating too much of biscuits. That is very, very important in our lifestyle. Moving, where else do we get fats? We get fats from milk. So people with high cholesterol start talking about ki doodh nahi piyenge. So there is a latest study by the Lipid Society, International Lipid Society, which talks about that cholesterol is not only linked to the fat intake, which we have been following all the while, it is also linked to the kind of carbohydrates and sugar intake that we are doing. And मैंने आपको इंडिया की प्लेट दिखाई है, हमारा सीरियल कंटेंट यानी कि कार्बोहाइड्रेट कंटेंट इंडिया में ज्यादा है एज कंपेयर टू फैट. सो हमें फैट और कार्बोहाइड्रेट पे काम करना है इंडिया में. So when you do the cholesterol thing, don't only cut back on the oil part, also cut back on the carbohydrate part. Also remember the kind of milk. Don't stop taking milk, because milk is the only way in vegetarian diet to give you protein and calcium. And milk is the only best source of calcium in our culture of the diet, right? So you can use skimmed milk or maybe double toned milk, which is low in fat as compared to the buffaloes or maybe cow milk, which is higher percentage of fat into it, right? So this is all about fat. Moving to proteins, because India is not eating enough proteins also. So for vegetarians, the protein source would be your paneer, your doodh, your dahi, your nuts. These would be the sources of protein for vegetarians. For non-vegetarians, chicken, fish, etc. would also be an add-on. In India, non-vegetarian eating people also do not meet the daily protein requirement, leave the vegetarian sources. So if you are a vegetarian, remember to eat dal, doodh, dahi on a daily basis. Dal can be eaten like sprouts. Dal can also be eaten like besan ka chila. You can add dal or you can add besan in your roti so that your protein intake is going there also. So these are few forms where you should focus and increase the protein content in your diet. That is very, very important, right? So अगर हम वजन कम करने की बात करें, क्योंकि ओवरवेट होते हैं एज में भी, सो जो हमारी नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीजेस हैं वो वजन कम करने की भी बात करती हैं, राइट? व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट लूजिंग वेट, सो व्हाट वी नीड टू डू इज we need to follow. This was a study where I was involved and it is yet to publish, hence I'm not showing you all the graphs, but the basic graph where I am showing people who follow the diet, the result was good. 10.7% of the population who followed the diet, they lost weight. People who only exercise but did not diet, 2.9% of the population lost weight. And people who did diet and exercise, 12% lost weight, and rest all dropped out. Okay, they could not comply, they could not do because of various reasons. So that slide I'm not able to show because the data is yet to get ready, but that's the fact. This is how, when it comes to a compliance of the diet, you can see the numbers. If you calculate the percentage, it is roughly around about 30%. Less than 30% of the population followed what we said. The rest 70% could not comply. So when they could not comply because of various reasons, they could not comply, the results and the effectiveness is not going to be there. So what is important, whenever you follow a diet or you follow a dietitian, follow up and understanding the dietitian is important. Okay, you need to talk to your dietitian. What are the challenges that is making you not follow or comply the diet, right? Now sugar, we should be talking about sugar. As I mentioned to you, that when we talk about cholesterol, it is not about the fat, but it is also about sugar. So when we add, so if you see the amount of sugar that goes in a cup of chai is also huge. So even if we start taking small steps of removing sugar from chai, even if we are not diabetic, right? Few people do that. Even if you're not diabetic, that is considered to be good enough, right? So we think that the lassi that we are taking is very healthy. Yes, it is healthy, but remember to read the nutrition labels, and it says that this lassi has 6 teaspoons of sugar in the small pack. So 250 ml of lassi that you drink from outside gives you 6 teaspoons of sugar into it. But if you make lassi at home, you can control it to 1 or 2 teaspoons according to your taste. You can add dates, which is natural in taste, which will also help you giving nutrition and which will also help you combat constipation and reduce the sugar content in the lassis that you are making. So whenever you buy products from outside, remember that you need to read the nutrition label and read in between and the hidden lines. That is very, very important. The Minute Maid, which is a pulpy orange drink that you take, has approximately 5 teaspoons of sugar in 250 ml of a drink. So that is also on a very high side. And we recommend that not more than 3 teaspoons of sugar is what you should be taking in the entire day. Okay, so there is a lot of sugar hidden in all the processed food. So even if you're using salad and using a vinaigrette dressing from outside, which is a healthy of all, you need to read the label. So use of processed food is something that we should reduce. Make our own dressings. Hamara nibu, our hunkered dressing is one of the healthiest dressing and is tasty, will give you protein, will give you calcium. Topping up with sesame seeds and handful of nuts makes a very healthy salad and a sumptuous salad, right? So this is just an example showing every drink that you are taking, how much sugar does it contain, right? The portion controls have been increasing, right? When we were young, and I'm sure you were young, we were never able to gulp the 200 ml of Coke bottle that used to come. We always felt like sharing, because our stomach used to give us signals that it is full. But nowadays, see the portions that are coming, because it is the demand that is the reason why the portions are increasing. So the problem is not that we should not be eating all such of the things. portion control is very, very important, is the message that I want to give. Like, for example, you are a diabetic, you want to eat mango, but your HbA1c is 8.9 or 9. I will give you mango? No. But if your HbA1c is near 7 or below 7, I will give you mango. But mango also in a portion control. So depending upon your reports, depending upon how your sugars are there, mango can also be adjusted in your diet. But portion control is very, very important. The buzz in the diabetic diet today is portion control. So we want to eat bread, please eat bread, but fill it up with a lot of fiber. You want to eat rice, practice portion control, but fill the gap of fiber when it comes to a diabetic diet. That is very, very important, right? So this is talking about the portion control. So you need to be taking care that your proteins should be a palm of the size, your vegetable should be a fist of the size, fat has to be just a thumb size, carbs have to be just a cup hand size. So this is just one example. Remember I remember my dadi told me, dal banani hai na, to one fistful of dal is what you need to take per person. Remember, so these were the ways our grandparents have also taught us, right? So how to use the portion. So the culture of portion has been there, but I'm just reminding what we are forgetting these days because of the lifestyle, because of the rush, because of the cooks that are coming in our house. We have stopped moving into the kitchen. Start going back, start supervising a little. Don't start cooking back, but just start supervising your cooks. That is very, very important, right? Make your pyaz, onion and tomato masalas that you make, because that consumes a lot of oil for 1 week. Cook it under your supervision with low oil, right? So it is very important, be it elderly, be it young, a balanced diet is very, very important. And your diet has to be like the plate that I had shown you. There is no one superfood that will tell you, like when COVID came, a lot of antivirals is what we were talking about, a lot of haldi, lot of kadas is what we were drinking, lot of antivirals from a kitchen we were using. But then there are studies which have published that overdose of these is also bad on our gastric linings. It has shown impact on livers also on people. So everything that we take in portion is important. Cinnamon, so use of cinnamon was very high. The dosage of cinnamon is not more than a pinch, right? The ginger that we were using should not be more than half an inch on a daily basis. These things have different properties. Methi dana, you just cannot have loads of methi dana. Drumsticks, moringa ke patte, you just cannot have unlimited quantity. Portion control of this is also important. And when it comes to elderly, your gastric lining is not that great. And in your case, your gut and your gastric lining has to be healthy. So including probiotics at your age is very important. So probiotics, there are drinks like Yakult that you should be taking on a daily basis. Why I'm talking about probiotic? Curd is a natural probiotic. But the curd that you are making in your house, the curd that I am making in my house, the stain in that curd would be different. The number of bacteria that are growing into that curd will also be different. So Yakult is a drink where you know you have an X amount of bacteria going in you, which is healthy, which will give you a lot of health. So drinking 2 Yakults a day is very, very healthy and will give goodness in your gut. So natural things like sprouts, fermented foods like idli, dhokla, but homemade fermented things, not the suji fermented thing, not the ferment which is coming from yeast or no, the natural fermentation is also going to make your gut happy. Eat prebiotics also, which is the food of probiotics like garlic, like onions, like ginger in your diet, and your gut will remain very, very healthy, which is also important. Nowadays, science is talking about gut link with brain and gut link with non-communicable diseases. This is something that is advancing these days. So it is very important for long-term and healthy diet. Whenever you take advice, take it from qualified nutritionists. Have fewer snacks, eat 5 to 6 small frequent meals. We know all of that. do not eat while watching TV, because when you are eating while watching TV, your brain is not getting the signal when your stomach is full. You should eat only 3/4 of your capacity. You should not fill your stomach. That is very, very important. Namaskar. Now I'm open for questions.
That was a very wonderful presentation, Charu. And you have given a lot of insights, a lot of things that probably we never knew. And I'm sure our audience would also agree to that. If you would like to ask any questions, anything in anybody's mind would like to ask them, please.
Yes, doctor. My mother have one question.
Please carry on.
Yeah, please carry on.
So, she's pre-diabetic, and she's asking that how much quantity should she eat about potato and rice?
Okay, so if you are pre-diabetic, that means your chances of diabetes is going to increase. So what you should be doing is that rice you should not be having at the night time. That is for sure. Try and avoid rice at the night time. Ek roti ke barabar, 3/4 of the katori is the rice, right? So when we take one roti is going to give you 17 grams of carbohydrate. So similarly, 3/4 katori bowl of rice, 3/4 medium sized bowl is going to give you 17 grams of carbohydrate. The only problem in rice is the fiber. So when you have less fiber, you tend to eat more, or you feel hungry faster when you eat rice as compared to chapati. So if you're eating 2 chapatis, you should be eating 1.5 bowl of rice. The only problem is we portion out rice directly in the plate. So when you will portion out rice in bowl and convert it into your plate, do not hard press with spoon, etc. Your rice should remain open. You should not be pressing it. You will see the quantity and the portion size of rice is very, very less. So whenever you are eating rice, and if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, remember to eat a lot of salads. Remember to eat a lot of vegetable along with it, so that the spike of carbohydrate that happens with rice would not happen. A, do not have rice in the evening hours, in the dinner hours. That is what I said. So you should be taking rice, like try and keep it once in 10 days. I think you will be fine. What was the other part of the question?
Yeah, the quantity of potatoes.
Quantity of potatoes. See, potatoes, whenever one potato a day, I am absolutely okay. But pre-diabetic or diabetic, and because we are a carbohydrate eating population, so potato ki vegetables, potato patty, potato parantha is absolutely out, because potato is a carbohydrate. So if we eat potatoes, vegetable with chapati, we are actually combining a carbohydrate with a carbohydrate. So if you're taking one potato in full day mixed with vegetable, I'm absolutely okay. That is absolutely fine. It is not an issue at all. Okay, so one potato with gobi aloo ki sabzi, matar aloo ki sabzi, or maybe palak aloo with some vegetable is fine, where 3/4 portion is the vegetable and 1/4 portion is the potato is fine. But independent potato, vegetable, potato chips, potato paranthas is something that I would want you to avoid. Even if you want to eat potato parantha, little of potato, add a lot of carrots, add palak, make a mixed vegetable parantha, add some paneer, etc. Fill it into your roti and make a tandoori roti kind of a thing on your tawa, and just put a dash of ghee when you have put it down, and enjoy it with green chutney. Yeah, or maybe an amla achar which is made at home. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. And the one last query is about fruits. If
Yes.
she's pre-diabetic, which fruits she should avoid?
Okay, so if you're pre-diabetic, as I told you, fruits like mango, banana, chiku, grapes, these are a high glycemic index fruits. So portion control of these fruits is very, very important. Like if you're a diabetic, you should not ever take overripe banana. So buy a banana, eat on the same day, right? And take the banana on a harder side, towards a greener side, right? Because the sugar content of the banana keeps changing on a daily basis. So if you are a diabetic, try and take more the banana that you can eat, which is a little on a greener side. Not the green banana I'm saying, but on the greener side. Never eat fruit independently. Eat fruits along with nuts. That's very important, because when you take a carbohydrate, ultimately fruits also have fructose and have carbohydrate. You have to combine it with a protein, and the best thing to combine is to combine it with nuts. Like, eat your fruit and nuts, and fruit should also be taken before the lunch, not after the lunch hours, and take fruit in between breakfast and in between lunch. So one fruit around approximately 100 to 150 grams. And if it is a fruit like mango, banana, chiku, grapes, strictly 75 grams, not more than that, but combine it with nuts. So one fistful of nuts, variety of nuts, your pistas, your kajus, your
Think
almonds.
groundnuts can be included?
Yes, groundnuts can also be included, but the portion size of nuts is one fistful, not more than 10 to 15 nuts at a time.
कोलेस्ट्रॉल भी है मतलब मदर को, तो कोई इश्यू नहीं
So
करेगा, right?
so plant foods do not have cholesterol. Let me be very clear with you. So nuts do not increase your cholesterol.
Okay.
And groundnuts can also be included.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, doctor.
I think what this question was about pre-diabetes is very interesting. Charu, if you can also give some suggestions about what all should be avoided for people who have got high blood pressure, which is very, very common now. So
Right.
they can be avoided. Or
Yes.
what can be, what is advice for them?
Yeah. So what I would say is controlling blood pressure. I'm sure Dr. Aman would also agree, and there would be doctors who would have spoken about high blood pressure. Blood pressure should be in control. That is very, very important. Monitoring of blood pressure is very, very important, because certain diseases like your kidney disease, stroke, etc., can also, your heart disease can also aggravate if your blood pressure is not in control. So when it comes to diet, it is very important to take a low salt diet when it comes to high blood pressure. So when I talk about low blood pressure, it should be always like, whenever you're eating your food, you should always feel thoda sa, if I add a little bit of salt into it, I would have been happier, right? So if you are having hypertension and not having renal disease, you can have the low sodium salts that are available. But if you have hypertension and you have renal or kidney disease, then you should not be taking low sodium salts. Okay, because all low sodium salts are high in potassium, which does not work with kidney patients. Okay, only the exemption is kidney patients, right? Otherwise, as a hypertensive people, you can use low sodium salts, but remember also to use iodized salt. You should not only switch over to low sodium salts, because those salts are not iodized. So you should be using a combination of low sodium salts and iodized salts. Remember not to eat papad. We eat papads, that is a source of salt. We eat a lot of chutneys, ketchups along with the food items. Try avoiding chutneys and ketchups. You're eating bread omelette. Bread omelette has a taste on its own. You did not add ketchup to it. You're eating, maybe once in a while, you're eating maybe a samosa. You should not add chutney along with it, right? So adding all these things add on to the salt. Consuming too much of processed food, the dabba food, sodium is a natural preservative, right? Our pickles, basically, they stay for long because of extra oil and because of salt, right? So any processed food that you're eating, maybe baked beans from a tin, or maybe soup packet that is available, is considered to have high salt content. The yellow butter that we take is high salt. The processed cheese that we take from market is high salt. So the alternative for cheese is your paneer, right? Paneer with bhuna hua jeera, maybe some mustard powder, maybe some green chutney, maybe some thyme, maybe some mint, maybe some coriander mixed into it along with hung curd, becomes a very good spread on a sandwich, along with some vegetables that of your choice, can become a sandwich and is an alternative for cheese or maybe butter that you're using. White butter still you can use, because that does not have salt in it. So salt is something that you need to reduce when it comes to hypertension. Simultaneously, increasing potassium in your diet is very, very important. So there are studies which says if you take a low salt diet or maybe a high potassium diet, it helps in reducing your blood pressure. So you should be taking a lot of fruits and vegetables. So the plant family brings potassium to you. Citrus fruits bring lot of potassium. Avla brings lot of potassium. Taking lemon, coconut water brings a lot of potassium. Taking lemon on a daily basis will add on potassium in your diet. Eating 2 fruits on a daily basis will add on potassium in your diet. So that is what you should be eating. Tomato soups in your diet can add, or a vegetable soup in your diet can add potassium in your diet, is what you should be taking. Taking whole grains also helps reduce your blood pressure. Avoiding processed food avoids increasing your blood pressure. Exercising, de-stressing, meditation is another form, and maintaining a healthy weight. Like, important is to have a healthy lifestyle is what we should be following for a hypertensive diet.
Ma'am, good evening. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, nowadays one pink salt people are taking, can it
Yeah.
be taken for lowering the blood pressure?
See, what I have been seeing is that you should be taking, as we talk about combination of fat, you should be taking combination of salts also, right? But the total quantity of sodium should not, in hypertensive, should not be more than 3/4 of a teaspoon in the entire day, right? So what you can do is one meal can be cooked in iodized salt, and another meal can be cooked in another salt, so that there is different kind of benefits that you have. And pink salt, because it has other kinds of minerals, etc., you can have that. Rock salt will give you different kind of minerals and all, but whatever it is, not more than 3/4 of the teaspoon is what you should be using in the entire day.
Also, I wanted to ask in that Yakult, there is sugar in that. Diabetic
Yes,
people can have it.
I was waiting for this question. Absolutely bingo, you have asked the right thing. Yakult has sugar into it. So there is a blue Yakult that is available, which is diabetic friendly.
Yeah. So what about the high fiber content? Should we take for the diabetic patient or not? And my second question, yeah, sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay, so for high fiber, yes, 35 to 40 grams of fiber is what you should be taking. And in diabetes, a high fiber diet is something which is prescribed on prescription only. That is what we say. And in diabetes only, we talk about take more complex carbohydrate as compared to maida, right? So a high fiber diet in diabetes, pre-diabetes, and in fact for everybody, even in high, your cholesterol levels also reduces with fiber. So when you take a fibrous diet, 35 to 40 grams on a daily basis, your bowel movements is proper, you don't feel constipated, you have a satiety value, you feel fuller faster, your sugars, your diabetes is under control, and your lipids are under control. So these are the benefits of fiber. So you should be taking a fibrous diet.
Okay. And what should be the food style for a diabetic patient?
So the food style is you should follow a sequence of eating. So the sequence is, first you should be eating vegetables and salad. So first thing is eat a lot of salads, and salad is, as I told you, the quantity. 400 gram minimum kachi sabzi khani chahiye. So when you are old and you have teeth problems, please grate your salad, please steam your salad, please boil your salad, but have the salad. Okay, eat salad first, then your proteins, your dahi, your dal, etc. Focus on dahi and protein, and then focus on your carbohydrate. This is what you should have, a sequence of eating. When you eat this way, diabetes can also be in control, and this eating style is also healthy in weight. And with diabetes, I always talk about a saying: eat your breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a piper. Right? But what we do is, because family is meeting in the dinner time, our dinner is the heaviest meal of the day. People coming back from the office, so what happens at 7 o'clock, we have snacks which fills us up, and then we have a dinner at 9-10 o'clock, and then we sleep. So this is not the right pattern in diabetes and weight loss. You should have your dinner by 8:30, and your dinner calories should always be lesser than the lunch calories.
There is a question for diet for a chemo patient.
Yeah. So see, for a chemo patient, we follow a neutropenic diet. And when I talk about neutropenic diet, what is a neutropenic diet? A diet which is served, cooked, and made the patient eat following the food standards and food safety, right? Because during the chemo, the patient has low immunity. So food safety becomes our first priority. So giving chemo patient salads, etc., is not not healthy. Second, we should focus on protein. So a diet, chemo patients may have different symptoms like diarrhea. So it's a topic in itself. So I would answer in brief. So chemo patients have to have a diet depending upon the symptoms that they are arising because of chemo. Like if you have too much of diarrhea, we cannot give you too much of fiber. We cannot give you medium chain triglycerides. We need to be very careful. But we need to focus on your proteins, but we need to focus on your calories. So we need to be giving you a high protein and a diet which is prepared hygienically. You should not be eating food, lunch wala sabzi made in the dinner. That is not advisable for chemo patients. So I've answered this in brief
One
currently.
thing we want to ask is whether beetroot juice can it be given for people who have got high blood pressure and or are diabetic?
See, I would say that I am not a pro person for juices, and in our forums we say juice should be taken only when you don't have teeth, which is like when you are an infant, or if you are an elderly without teeth, right, and you're using denture, right, so that you are not able to chew fruits, etc. But before that, chewing fruits, grating fruits is an option available. Juices is something that I'm not very happy. And beetroot also does not have a very nice glycemic index. So too much of beetroot can also increase your sugar. Eating beetroot, what you can do is you have to boil the beetroot, because beetroot has a pungent flavor and not many people are fond of beetroot. But if you're from South India, you know the ways how to use beetroot. So if you can just put your beetroot in hot water, take it out, the taste changes dramatically. Try it. Okay, just boil the water, switch off the gas, cut your beetroot, let it be there for 5-10 minutes, and take that beetroot and eat it. You will be able to eat it as compared to raw beetroot. Beetroot otherwise is healthy, has a lot of flavonoids, have a lot of antioxidants, and for elderly it is healthy. So taking 2-3 pieces of beetroot is healthier as compared to taking the juice of beetroot. And it does not have too much of iron. Let me tell you that if you're taking it for iron, it does not have too much of iron. It will not help you increase your hemoglobin.
That is something interesting you said, because whenever people ask about something to raise your hemoglobin, they say take beetroot.
Yeah.
That's also something we have learned today.
Charu ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Like as we know, like curd or buttermilk helps to digest the food.
Yes.
So is there any restrictions? Can we have it with every meal, or we can have it once or twice in a day or anytime? Please suggest.
Okay, so let me tell you, for everything, even a very high fiber, like if you think you can have fiber is good, but the recommendation for fiber is 35 to 40 grams. If you start taking 50 or 60 grams of fiber in your diet, you will have problems. Your gut is not going to be happy. So anything that you're taking, portion control is important. And when it comes to milk and milk products, when you're pregnant, I say 1 liter a day is what you should be taking. When you are at menopause, anywhere around about 500 to 700 ml is the quantity of milk and milk products is what you should be taking. Yes, curd and buttermilk, because it has natural probiotics, helps in digestion. You can have it with your meals. Our Ayurveda tells us that curd should not be taken in night, but our science, the allopath science, does not talk about it. So in India, generally, curd is not taken in the night hours. So I leave that choice to individual. If you're able to digest it, I am able to digest curd in the night hours. I take curd both the time. So it depends upon how your body reacts. Take the curd accordingly, and portion size I've already spoken.
Anyone who would like to, later on have a consultation with Charu, or would like to discuss more are free to contact us. Please send us a message on our WhatsApp number or contact your relationship manager. We will be happy to connect you to Charu, and she will be, she will talk to you in detail and give you a proper, advice and suggestions for you.
I have a question before we finish off.
Yes,
If the elderly is low in sodium,
Yeah.
we see the symptoms. Before we really go into medication, what do you recommend we should give the patient?
So I would say the sodium is a very tricky electrolyte. Let me be very, very frank with you. And with sodium, it doesn't work that if you have sodium, add on lot of salt. No, it does not work that way. We need to, just knowing the sodium does not work, I need to understand, is there any other underlying disease and why the sodium is dropping. So if the sodium is dropping because of an underlying disease, we need to rectify that first. And if the sodium is dropping because of the low food intake, we need to rectify that. It is not just adding sodium into it. Sometimes if the sodium is dropping, we need to add water, and that also balances. Maybe you are not taking enough water. That can also be one of the reasons. So understanding the reason is very important, and then the rectification happens. And if sodium is low, we should not bring it up like this. It should be a gradual increase, and along with a dietitian and a doctor, both jointly understanding the reason. If you're not eating, that may be the reason of your sodium going down in some elderly. If you're not eating well,
that's very rightly said, because sodium losses usually happen when people have kidney diseases. So it's a very, very tricky situation.
Yeah.
So one has to be very careful in correcting those sodium levels. And rightly said, it has to be done with the advice of the doctor also.
Mine was more on a first aid because we see that very often. So that is why I just wanted to know that what should.
No, sodium is not first aid, ma'am. I would recommend sodium is not first aid. We need to understand the reason, and after knowing the reason, along with the doctor, it has to be treated. For sodium, there is no solution.
You see two very common reasons for low sodium happening. One is, as I said, the kidney disease. Secondly, what happens is when people, especially the elderly people, when they have serious bouts of loose motions and vomiting and also, they tend to have for them the sodium level tends to fall suddenly. It falls. So I'm sure the treatment for both is different.
And sometimes, when elderly are not able to eat, I have seen people who are getting depressed and they're not eating. That can also be one of the reasons.
Yes, because when they are maybe patients who are recovering from cancer or who are under treatment for that, they are not able to eat. So there's the time when the electrolyte imbalances take place. So one has to keep into view all these things and then probably take a corrective action.
Right, thank you.
So anyway, this was very interesting today, and we have really taken a lot of time off Charu today. So thank you, Charu. It was really nice talking to you, listening to you, and understanding a lot of things. As I said, a lot of things which we were never aware of. At least I was not aware of. And of course, I'm sure people will be, our audience would have got their queries sorted out. And as I said, anybody would like to talk to her, we'll be happy to fix up an appointment with her. Sitting at home, through telemedicine, we can do it. And well, that's all. Thank you very much. We'll be meeting again. To my audience, we'll be meeting again next month on the last Saturday with some other thing which will be more.
Thanks, doctor. It was a very interesting session that we had today.
Thank you, Neetu. It was very nice. We like your feedback. We appreciate your feedback, and to everybody who's there, kindly if you can give us a feedback. It will be really important for us to if we want to have any change, we can do that. Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Thank you very much.